Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sebastian, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a hell of a show in store for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, as you guys know, the Olympics is about to kick off in some days. It's pretty much here. I think USA is slated to play I believe Serbia on the 28th. I could be wrong, but according to what I'm seeing, that's the preliminary round. I think they're going to be playing Serbia on July 28th. So in some days, they're going to be playing them. Of course, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of conversation going into this particular Olympics. Some people out there tried to say that this is the most talented roster Team USA has ever sent out there. They're saying it's on par with the Dream Team, which I think is a joke, an absolute joke. And then once the tournament kicked off, not the Olympics, but the games before that, some people began to really second guess those assertions, given the fact that they were down, I believe, by 14 to South Sudan. They ultimately came back and won that game by 1 point when they had a 43.5 point spread going into that game. And then they ended up beating Germany, I believe, by 4 or 6 points. That wasn't a convincing victory, especially the way they used to do it in the past, right? So while people are kind of, making their projections, one person on ESPN gave his own. And his message was quite ominous. And this person was Tim Legler. Now, if you know anything about Tim Legler, former NBA player, he's the NBA guy on the show that's going to give you some serious NBA breakdowns. And he was on a panel, I believe, with Malika Andrews, and they were discussing Team USA's prospects going into the Olympics. And as he was speaking, he gave a pretty serious warning to Team USA. And he also said that he would not be surprised if Team USA lost in these Olympics and did not get the gold medal. And I was like, wow, that's pretty serious. So those are the comments that we want to focus on today. But before we even get into what Tim Legler had to say, today's video is brought to you by sponsor Game Time. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. For example, I am super excited about the upcoming MLB games. With Game Time tickets, I can easily pick the best tickets for me. I love that I can choose between different deals. I have the option to select the cheaper deal, the best option deal, or my favorite, the flash deal. The flash deal gives me the option to find discounts that I can only find on Game Time. Once I select the ticket I want, I can view my seat. And it's not just restricted to baseball. I can also look for the best ticket deals for other sports like football, the NBA, concerts, comedy, or other theater shows. Included in my purchase, I also have a 24-hour return guarantee, a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we'd like to do now is we'd like to play exactly what Tim Legler had to say on ESPN. And then we're going to come back and react to some of his comments and give you guys our thoughts. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
I'm going to throw Germany in there, the FIBA world champs. We're going to put some respect on Germany there. Legs, we haven't gotten a chance to hear about your ideas, the roster construction, though, of Team USA. How do you feel that they all fit together after seeing a couple of exhibition games, which I know you don't put too much stock into?
Yeah, I just want, people need to always get back to this point. Whenever you see an international team coming from the United States, an NBA caliber team, these are different roles for these guys.
Yes.
Basketball doesn't work that way, where you have a team full of alphas, team full of guys that are used to doing really whatever they want offensively on every given night for their NBA teams. Most basketball teams have a couple of guys at the top of the roster that fall into that category, and then everybody else sort of stays in a lane and they fill a specific role and they sacrifice parts of their game for the betterment of the team. That's a big time adjustment for all of these guys. You're talking about some guys that if their careers ended tomorrow, we know they're in the Hall of Fame. There's a bunch of other guys in this team that are probably going to end up there as well. And they're used to getting, on a bad night, 20 shots a game for the teams they play on. So I just think the way that we go about formulating these teams and just expect, because they've got more talent and these are household names, we can roll out a ball and they can just go. That's just not the case anymore. And I think basketball requires a rhythm and a sacrifice and a continuity that is very difficult to find in this amount of time. And that is why I think Team USA will be threatened on multiple nights in this tournament. It's not going to shock me to see them lose. We just mentioned some of the teams. Australia even could be a team because stylistically it's so different.
Yeah.
You know, I like Shanae's point about Canada. There's no doubt that's the most talented team outside of Team USA. But the one thing that's interesting about that situation is they're going to play like it's an NBA game. And that also might make Team USA more comfortable.
True.
Because the style is going to be exactly what they see every night.
Right.
Some of these other international teams that have the top guys, right, the top of the food chain players, like a Victor Wembanyama, but then everybody else falling into a role, it looks more like what actual basketball looks like rather than a collection of all-stars. And that's why this is continuing to be a challenge for Team USA to just run through it.
Not to mention, to your point, some of those other teams, they also have a continuity that United States, they just do not have.
So you heard what Tim Legler had to say. It was a very, very serious warning. He spoke about the fact that he believes that of all the teams out there that are actually playing basketball, like an NBA, like a basketball team running plays and playing with some level of cohesiveness and some strategy, Team USA isn't one of them. Right. And that's a pretty damning condemnation. Also, it makes you think about something. And I discussed this yesterday on what's the show? GOAT Debate Media. We were discussing this yesterday where we were talking about how this is beginning to expose this current generation of NBA players, because it seems like they cannot adapt their game to an international competition, an international format. And that's a pretty damning indictment of the current crop of players that we have today. Given the way that it's marketed, and you have a lot of people out there basically saying, "Oh, these are the greatest players that we ever seen." Well, if you take them to international competition, they're struggling mightily. They're struggling mightily, and the basketball people like Tim Legler and others are beginning to notice this. Right? They cannot adjust their game to the international game. That's a problem, because the USA is supposed to be the forerunners and the torchbearers in this aspect. So for them to be having struggles, because it's a totally different game. There is no 3-second rule and all of that stuff. So you play it a little bit differently. Team USA is struggling, minus all of the star power. They're barely beating some of these teams. If you look at the current roster that they're sending, you have Bam Adebayo, Devin Booker, Stephen Curry, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, who they're saying is most likely not going to be available for the first game. Anthony Edwards, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Halliburton, Drew Holiday, LeBron James. They replaced Kawhi Leonard with White, and they also have Jason Tatum, right? And I'm also hearing some people say, well, if Kevin Durant doesn't come back, what's Team USA's chances of winning? I'm like, really? You got all of this all-star power, and you're talking about, man, if Kevin Durant returns, well, all of this all NBA talent on this roster. So to me, man, look, I hope Team USA doesn't lose. I'm rooting for Team USA to win because I think it would be a horrible storyline if they found a way to not win the gold medal, especially when you have people in media out there basically twerking it up every single day on TV telling us how great this team is. It would be a serious indictment of this current crop of NBA players that we have today. Right. And you can see that the way that the game has evolved, I think the game is regressing. And Kobe Bryant spoke about this years ago. He spoke about how the fact that the NBA right now is basically accidental basketball. It's a reward system. Those are his words. He says players can't play in combination of threes and twos. And he makes a point today. Drive, kick, run outs, drive, kick, shoot, drive, kick, layup, drive, kick. That's all basketball is these days. Right. Another thing worth noting is if you look at some of the scores, if you look at some of the NBA games, or if you look at NBA games, teams are scoring 114, 115, 116 points per game. But if you look at these international games, these teams are barely cracking 100 points. With all of these all-stars, with all of these great scores that we've never seen, all of these skilled players, why are the scores why are the scores so low? Why are they so low? So look, I hope Team USA doesn't lose. But it seems like the basketball people out there are noticing some chinks in their armor, and some of them don't believe they're going to win the gold. So the question I have to the audience is simply this: do you think Team USA is going to win the gold medal? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you on the next show. Peace.